This is a Misfit Nation production.
You want to be a friend of the cartel?
Ladies and gentlemen, making their way to the studio, they are the most dangerous podcast in sports entertainment. Crishaun the Don and Wunda from Kayfabe Kartel.
You're staying. You belong to the cartel now.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the most dangerous podcast in sports entertainment, the Kayfabe Kartel. And I am here, ladies and gentlemen, as you read in the title, as you probably read in the title, hopefully you can read. I'm going to be doing a WWE SummerSlam review, and I'm going to explain my thoughts, explain what I felt about what transpired, but most of all, I'm going to brag about how right I was about every motherfucking thing on this card. And I got to tell you, I got to brag a little bit. I have to, because, you know, I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim here. I'm not complaining. I'm not bitching. I'm not a faggot. But I do take a lot of criticism, a lot of flack from the IWC. And I understand. It's because I really detest them. So, of course, naturally, they're going to detest me back. However, I had hundreds of commenters, hundreds of them, telling me that I didn't know anything about wrestling. And I take a lot of criticism, but the problem is no one ever admits that I'm right when I'm right. And that goes for everything that I do, because I'm right a lot. I am the Don, of course, so I should be right. It's expected to be right. And I love to say I told you so, so I don't mind. And here's the thing: is a lot of my predictions are long term, so I end up not being right in the short term. But every once in a while, I get that little bit of that tangible vindication that I so much deserve. A lot of people saying I was stupid for saying that that they should split up Rhea and Dom. Oh, it's such a dumb idea. They're never going to do that. And it's because you idiots sit around, you get in your comfort zones, and that's why WWE books the way they do. They book for your comfort zones. Because you're those, it's like these new wrestling fans, they're like, they don't like change. They're not fans of change. And I think you're gonna see that this little bit of change that we got on SummerSlam is gonna be worth it in the long run, because I'm very glad they did a lot of the things they did. But yeah, my biggest pet peeve in the world is gaslighting. You could be wrong all day. I don't care. You can be ignorant. You can be stupid. A lot of the times I'm all of those things. But gaslighting really irks me. Really gets under my fucking skin. And I don't care what it is. Gaslighting. If you're a gaslighter, you're on my shit list forever. Just remember that. And there's a lot of gaslighters. A lot of gaslighters in the world these days. Nobody knows how to debate anymore. It's just gaslighting. So, let me just get into the card. Enough of my diatribe. Actually, you know what? I'm going to play a little video because I did post this. I'm going to play it again, and then I'm going to get right into my WWE SummerSlam 2004 review. And really got beat up. As soon as I saw that happen, I said to myself, oh, Roman's coming back. When do you think Roman comes back? SummerSlam? SummerSlam. Definitely SummerSlam. I'm going to give some of my SummerSlam predictions. My prediction is that Drew is going to win. Seth is going to actually screw over CM Punk somehow. I don't know exactly how that's going to happen, but he's going to screw over CM Punk, and they're going to usher them into their feud. I get the feeling that the Judgment Day is actually going to turn on Rhea and Damian, because I do believe that Dominic may end up with Liv at the end of this. I'm starting to get that feeling that even if maybe not the entire Judgment Day, definitely Dom with Finn and sort of kick out Rhea and Damian from the Judgment Day, because they're starting to feel like the odd men out right now. My prediction is definitely Gunther winning it, as he does his back and forth thing between the ropes and spears the shit out of Sami Zayn. 1, 2, 3. I have the strange feeling that Solo may actually win. He's gonna beat Cody Rhodes. I know I may be reaching. He's gonna beat Cody Rhodes, and then that even gives Roman extra to go at the bloodline. I know you don't really need it. I know I'm reaching. It's probably gonna be fucking whoa music at the end of SummerSlam. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, and it was whoa music. But we'll get to that later. All right, I'm gonna go through this card now. I'm gonna probably be a little out of order, but I have a reason why I'm gonna do this out of order. Because simply Peacock sucks a dick with their live streaming. I don't know why, but half of this card, I'll be honest, got spoiled for me because Peacock's shitty player kept buffering and then going live. So by the way, I wasn't watching it live because I had things going on. So I was probably about an hour or two, probably 2 hours, maybe even 3 hours late getting to the show. But literally it wouldn't let me go before it wouldn't let me play matches before I think it was, I have it written down, hold on. Geez. Yeah, it started with Drew versus Punk for me. And then it wouldn't let me rewind because I'm like, I know this isn't the beginning. But and then it just kept buffering. So the ending got spoiled for me. The end of Damian and Gunther got spoiled for me because Peacock's shitty player. So they need to fix that shit. But I'll move on. I digress. So I'll start with LA Knight versus Logan Paul. By the way, I didn't watch this. I watched this today because I had to watch it completely out of order and I couldn't deal with it last night. But I watched half the card last night. All right, enough of my anecdotal bullshit. LA Knight versus Logan Paul. I thought this match was probably the match of the night, in my opinion. I really enjoyed the match itself. I thought, well, let's start off with the entrances. We had basically Logan Paul coming out with MGK, who's back to dressing like a real boy again. Happy for him. Even though he's still dressing like, a goofy mid-2000s middle schooler. You get what I'm saying? He's dressed like the Stiffmeister. But, looks like he should be coming out to that theme song. It's been 1 week since you looked at me. Yeah, but I'm glad he's not dressing like a fucking tranny anymore. Good for him. But he came out and he's going to play a part, I guess, later in the match. LA Knight comes out and, destroys the window of Logan Paul's car. Whatever. Kind of fucked up on the first hit. Guess I thought they were like bulletproof glass windows or something, but I don't know. So I loved how this match started because the match started. It was a very old school start to a match. It basically had the pre-match beatdown. Logan Paul knocks LA Knight off of the top turnbuckle as he's doing his entrance. And basically we had that whole, this match hasn't officially started yet. And, the match kind of did that for a few minutes. They didn't just like rush to starting the match. So I thought that was okay. That was pretty cool for them to have such a, so much animosity in their feud. It makes sense. And I do love, and you'll see this, that it happened quite a few times throughout this pay-per-view, this PLE, that I hate when there's blood feuds and then they have the match, the bell rings, and they start with a, collar and elbow tie up and, have a technical fucking match. It's like it kind of takes away from the story that's being told. But yeah, they basically finally start the match, have a nice competitive back and forth. I guess they got a little rough at points because Logan had this big bruise on his eye, right underneath his eye. I don't know exactly where that came from. But as usual, Logan Paul outperforms himself, outperforms LA Knight. And there's the thing, there's a lot of people who give a lot of flack and a lot of criticisms to Logan Paul, and I don't think he's the most amazing wrestler that's ever graced the ring or anything like that. But Logan Paul does not suck. Logan Paul is actually a good wrestler. He's actually a great wrestler. The fact is that he constantly outperforms everybody he works with. In his matches, he carries everybody. And that's no disrespect to any of the people he worked with. Like LA Knight's style isn't really, conducive to carrying a match, I don't believe. But Logan Paul just really, really makes you fucking open your eyes while he's wrestling. He has that, that Shawn Michaels kind of showstopper thing to him. And I know it's Logan Paul, but I have to give credit where it's due. Every time I've seen this guy wrestle on a PLE, I've been impressed. I've been thoroughly impressed. And the caliber of people he's working with, he shouldn't be on that level. And that just shows you he does have a talent for this. He has a natural talent for wrestling. There was some really great points where, he had a fucking insane springboard moonsault outside of the outside to the outside, I should say. So LA Knight. And I know I'm not usually the flippy do guy, but I'm more of like flippy do works when it makes sense. And Logan Paul is a guy that looks like he would be doing that. I don't hate Jeff Hardy doing flippy do stuff. It's just that everybody does it, so it that's my problem with it. But yeah, there was this crazy superplex that with this really, it looked like a really bad landing. It looked like Logan Paul landed right on his fucking neck. But yeah, that was a pretty nice spot. At the end of it, LA Knight wins after Logan Paul fails with the brass knuckles, hits LA Knight with the brass knuckles, doesn't actually work. And LA Knight wins his first singles title after 20 years in the game. And that crowd came unglued when LA Knight won. And because I think they really did a good job at the false finish. You really thought Logan Paul was going to pull it out and it was going to be some fuckery, but he pulled it out, and we'll see if LA Knight has a good title run here, US title. But yeah, gotta give Logan Paul his credit. Definitely have to. Next, I'll talk about, I think this was next, was Nia Jax winning. I won't spend too much time on this. The only thing I'll say is I'm glad that Nia Jax won. I don't know if I necessarily called this one because I don't really touch on women's wrestling. The only reason I'm going to touch on this is because I'm very high on Nia Jax, and I'm not one of those people, one of those podcasters who go off on her because she hurt a few broads during her course of business. I think she gets unfair criticism from the fans. I think hurting people is not our business. That's and I get it, if she's ending careers, that's a whole different thing. However, it's not, I don't remember fans really, taking it out on Owen Hart back in the day when he broke Austin's neck. Maybe they did, and I was just too young to know. But like in a real sense, like we just knew he hurt Austin for real. That's how I looked at it. But my point is that I don't really care if she's hurting people in terms of this is why I don't care if she's hurting people, because I'm not sure if she's actually too rough and clumsy and reckless like they kind of say, or if the other girls are just too delicate and she's just so much bigger than them, and the fact that she's a fucking Samoan. If that's why they're actually getting hurt. I don't necessarily know. I don't know. I think it's fair to question and not necessarily just put it on Nia Jax. She's gotten better. Definitely in the past, she wasn't as good. I wasn't really that high on her. But now I think she's gotten better. She's gotten better as a personality. You might hate her, but you're supposed to hate her. And she's gotten better in the ring. I think she's improved her game. As far as women go, don't get me wrong. As far as women go, let me stress that. But I think she's a good heel in the women's division. I think she's also she's the only woman that's a believable monster in wrestling. So yeah, I'll be high on Nia Jax still. I think she's all right. I think she's all right. All right, let's go to Braun Breaker versus Sami Zayn. Another match that I called the win, but it didn't go exactly how I think it should have gone. It wasn't as decisive as it should have been. I think Braun should have definitely. I called that he should have squashed Sami Zayn, and it should have just been him spearing the fuck out of him. 1, 2, 3, 30-second match kind of thing. And they kind of did a quick version of a match. They didn't do as long of a match as they usually do with Braun Breaker. So they got closer to what they should be doing with him. But I just felt like the match itself should have been a lot more explosive, a lot more intense. I thought Braun should have been way more dominant. And there was points in the match that I noticed that the crowd was a little bit dead. And I don't think that was the crowd's fault. I think that they were going with working a slow, methodical pace. And I just don't feel like they should have done that with this match specifically, because also they did that with other matches throughout the night. So they kind of tried to do a little bit of like Sammy was kind of panicking, which they did well, but I felt like Sammy just got a little too much offense. It could be a nitpick, but I also didn't need the Braun selling his shoulder thing. I don't think that was really necessary. Again, another thing, just kind of like give him a weakness through the match, but inevitably it makes him weak in general because of his character, what his character should be. But they made the right decision. Braun Breaker wins. He wins the Intercontinental Championship. That crowd lost their mind for it. Again, I felt like that crowd wanted to be hyped throughout this whole match. I don't feel like that's the match they wanted to see. It wasn't the match I wanted to see, so I could be projecting onto them. But I felt like that crowd was a little dead in the sort of somewhere in the middle range. They kind of were like, come on, do something so we could fucking lose our mind. We want to lose our mind here. And they finally gave him the win, and they really did. They popped for Braun Breaker. I heard the barking. I heard the audience barking, and there must have been a lot of them, because to hear the barking so audible in an arena, in a stadium, they must have been pretty loud. But yeah, they must have been pretty loud for his win, because that was pretty audible as well. Now, I've been making this prediction with Braun Breaker lately, and I kind of got the feeling, and I know I'm maybe reading way too deep into something, but I noticed they said when he won that they said something along the lines of welcome to the Braun Breaker era, or the Braun Breaker era begins, that kind of thing. And for some reason, I know they say that with other people, other wrestlers. They said that with Cody when he won, but I don't know why. I was getting the feeling of Austin when he won the title. And I know you're out there going, oh, Austin, Attitude Era again. listen, just hear me out on this one. When Austin won the title the first time at that WrestleMania, they, the quintessential line that everybody remembers is JR screaming, "The Austin era has begun." And I noticed throughout the night they were doing a lot of this little subtle Attitude Era nostalgia. So that's why I think it's fair for me to bring this up. But I've been making this call that I think Braun Breaker works best when he's playing off of Adam Pearce and being sort of a anti-establishment kind of character, anti-boss kind of character. I think Braun Breaker connects with the audience more when he's doing that. And when he's going at Adam Pearce, I tend to find that the crowd pops for him more and connects with him more. Because I don't feel like the crowd likes Adam Pearce really. And I just get that feeling that maybe are they doing that? Was that a subtle kind of nod to the Austin era has begun, and that's where that was the McMahon Austin era. And that's where it began. I don't know if that's where it began because it began a little bit before that, but I guess it could technically say it began with Mike Tyson, but my point is this kind of where they're going to go with Braun Breaker. That's where I for some reason I just had that feeling. So Braun Breaker, maybe my prediction is that he goes into some kind of program with or more focused towards Adam Pearce. But yeah, like I said, I think it's a fair call because again, they were doing a lot of Attitude Era nostalgia. If you noticed, and I'll go right into the next match, they did that with the Drew and Punk Seth match. Seth being the special guest referee. They were doing a lot of comparisons to the SummerSlam match. They even did a tribute to it in the match of Brett versus Undertaker and Shawn Michaels being the guest referee. They did the chair spot from that match in the Punk versus Drew match. So there was a lot of subtle Attitude Era nostalgia kind of things that they were doing. But yeah, Drew versus Punk, basically another match that basically was a blood feud, a real personal feud, and it was great open to it because it started with a fucking slugfest. They got into the ring and as soon as the bell rang, they couldn't hold back, and they just fucking unloaded on each other. So that's great storytelling. I like that type of shit. I like little subtle things like that. Details. Again, I hate when a blood feud, the bell rings and they start with a tie-up and technical wrestling. It's like, no, beat the shit out of each other. You guys have been like, taking personal jabs and stealing shit from each other and injuring each other, like, costing each other titles. It's like, yeah, start off with a slugfest. Good. And WWE for a while didn't do this type of stuff. And I'm glad they're sort of bringing that back because they did that a few times tonight where some of the matches just started with straight up brawls. But yeah. Let's see. I lost place in my notes here. Yeah. So I liked how Seth just wasn't making any calls. Again, good old school special referee type of stuff. He doesn't just get involved in the ending. A lot of times WWE, when they were doing special guest referees in recent time, it would basically be that they would call the match normally. It's just a wrestler calling the match, and they would just get involved in the ending. But this, Seth was completely involved in the entire match. And I also liked how it made it feel like it was a regular match, but it felt like we were getting like a little bonus. Like it was like a little extra, no DQ kind of shit in there because Seth didn't call anything. He didn't call any of the rules. He's fucking laying on the top of the ropes, just chilling while they're beating the shit out of each other. And I liked how they kept kind of looking at Seth like, is this cool? And Seth didn't give a shit. So we basically got a no DQ match between these guys, even though it wasn't promoted as that as such. But yeah, it's one of those things that the storyline, it's a little trick in wrestling that they don't do anymore, but the storyline of it made it feel like we got a little extra than we were supposed to. And I fell for it for a minute because I was into it, but I wasn't wowed by this match, but I was into the story. It was a lot of story being told. There's a point where Punk has him in the Anaconda Vice, and he realizes, oh, I could take the bracelet off, and he finally takes the bracelet off, and then got a little too dramatic where he's crawling to the bracelet and all that stuff. And it didn't necessarily need that. But then there's a little subtle point where you see Seth, and it's almost like they just had it in the background where you see Seth see the bracelet and he picks it up and puts it on. And you can make the argument that he was holding it for Punk. That's what refs are supposed to do. I mean, but you're supposed to, I guess, put it in your pocket as the ref. But he put on the bracelet and he was holding it for him. I'm gonna stick by Seth on this one. And then at some point, Punk realizes Seth has on the bracelet. And there was basically a standoff between Punk and Seth. And there was also, I don't remember if this was at that point, but there was a really good little like audible point where he's screaming, this is my match. Seth is screaming to Punk, this is my match. This is my night, my company. We don't need you. And I feel like there's a little bit of realism in there. You know what I mean? I feel like I don't really think Seth. I think Seth is a professional. He'll do the work, but I don't feel like he really likes Punk. I don't feel like these guys really like each other. You can actually feel the chemistry. You can feel that the chemistry is that they're willing to work with each other, but you can feel that awkwardness that they're both kind of walking on eggshells a bit with each other on TV. I don't know. I could just sense that. But yeah, basically, Seth more or less, I wouldn't say he screwed Punk, but he did get into the back and forth with Punk, which eventually distracted Punk long enough for Drew to kick him in the nuts and then fucking pin him and win the match. So Drew won the match. And basically that's, I guess it's going to go, I hope it doesn't go into a 3-way. I assume they may go or keep that open at least to protect Punk. Remember, it's ceramic made Punk. Frail Brooks. He's not gonna, I mean, I hope. I mean, he looked all right. He looked all right on last night. But yeah, maybe they'll keep that open as a 3-way, but I wanted to go into Seth versus Punk. Just get the Drew McIntyre thing over with. It's enough. Let him have the win. But Drew did take the bracelet, so that does show that they're gonna continue. They're gonna continue this. So most likely gonna go into a 3-way. Then it is gonna go into straight up 1-on-1 between Seth and Punk. All right. How you guys doing in the chat there? Hey, I see some new names, huh? Or a new name. Tyler Helton. Shout outs to you. Mohammed Belhassin. And Platinum Ham, my brother. How are you guys all doing tonight? I'll get to your chats in a little bit. I'm going to try to fly through the rest of this card here. Because, well, I don't know if I can fly through this part. But let's try it. Fuck it. This listen, I called a lot of stuff. I basically called all the entire card, but this Dom Liv Rhea love triangle thing and Judgment Day thing in general, I gotta say I was surprised myself at how accurate I was on this. I was I don't want to say I was surprised they actually did it, but I thought they executed everything quite well. They actually pulled the trigger on the split of the Judgment Day, and the split, more importantly, I guess, of Dominic and Rhea. And it all went down exactly how I said it would. Basically, Dominic, Rhea's going for a chair shot on Liv. Dominic takes the chair shot. He left a little bit of plausible deniability at first, where he's like, "Hey, you don't want to get yourself disqualified. You won't win the title." And you could go, "Hey, that makes sense." And then, in true, just like his father, Eddie Guerrero fashion, he slides the chair right into the ring, right under the ref's nose, and lets Liv DDT. Well, I don't know what her move is called. I forget it. But DDT right into the chair, or whatever the fuck her move is, right into the chair. She defeats Rhea Ripley, retains her title, and then the kiss heard round the world happens. And Dominic officially turns on Rhea Ripley, solidifying it with a kiss on the lovely lips of Liv Morgan. And I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was very well executed. I think Dom and Liv together, I think it could actually work. I think they actually seem to have really good chemistry together. Liv, I don't know if she was serious or acting her ass off, but she was literally in tears when Dominic kissed her. Like, it was almost Macho Man Elizabeth level of emotions coming from her. Great acting. Great acting from her. I think they work very well together. Now, it gets into this weird place, because I called this out, that I get the feeling that they're trying to portray this as Dom is the heel in this situation and Rhea's the baby face somehow. And in my world, and this is the reason why I was saying from the beginning that I think when Liv started trying to get with Dom, I right away said that I don't see why in a real world situation why Dom wouldn't go right with Liv. Like, of course he would. And that's where we get into this weird place of, like, for instance, while Dominic's running out with Liv, and meanwhile the entire crowd's losing their mind. It really got a baby face kind of reaction, I think. Everybody fucking lost their mind over the kiss. But commentary was playing it up as if this was like, Dominic being a heel, which I could see the argument, but Pat even goes as far as calling him a piece of shit. No censorship on that either. Straight through. He's a piece of shit. And that's pretty hard words. But it's like, wait, what's he really a piece of shit for? Because he's not letting some, fucking overbearing broad cuck him out anymore and treat him like garbage. It's like, yeah. How is she the baby face here? So I get the feeling that going forward in this whole thing, they might have an issue with the babyface heel dichotomy. I feel like they may have it backwards into how the fans are going to react. And I think that it may kind of tweak the storytelling a little bit. And I'm not saying this is going to turn Dom into a baby face. I think he's still going to get heel reactions. However, I could see the pairing actually becoming, one of those you love to hate them, but then you start to love them at some point. Um, but we'll see. We'll see if that actually lasts, or if Liv actually turns on him now. If it just goes twist and turns all the way through, who the fuck knows? But yeah, I think they're gonna have a problem pushing that the heel babyface dichotomy of that whole thing. Now, this gets us over to I'm just gonna pair these two things, the Damian Gunther thing. I know I told these out of order, but another thing I called right down to the fucking detail. Damian versus Gunther. Real quick through the match, I gotta talk about the match, because the match was a fucking hard hitting brawl, just through and through. Damian Priest, he did have one really spot that was a little indie-ish, which was him doing that Hurricane Rana off the top rope. It was nice. Don't get me wrong. It was well executed, but I just don't think he should be doing moves like that. It comes off as, Damian Priest trying to prove that he's a good wrestler by, catering to the indie smart marks. But yeah, I don't think Damian really wasn't that, I don't want to say good. He was like just passable, but when he got into that back and forth brawl, kind of that chop fight, that vicious chop fight between him and Gunther, there was points where Damian, you could tell it was killing him. By the way, both of these guys' chests were literally bleeding. Gunther's chest was fucking leaking. It was disgusting. But he was getting chopped so much, it looked like he busted one of those fucking blood vessels or whatever the fuck was boiling up on his chest. Oh my god, disgusting to watch. But yeah, and I love the part too where Gunther actually realized he was bleeding. He didn't even realize it until he looked up at the Titantron and saw it. And you see him like almost having that moment of like seeing red, and he's looking down and sees it. Good shit. Good shit. I like that type of stuff. But yeah, what I mean, I guess like Damian was trying to do too much of that indie type of wrestling. Like he was doing a lot of knee slapping and fucking super kicks and shit like that. And I just was like, all right, enough of this. He is a knee slapping motherfucker. I never realized that until this match. But yeah, a lot of that. And then when he just finally got like the match boiled down to the two just brawling it out and just having a nice big man fucking just fisticuffs brawl. It was really, I really got into it. I thought the crowd also got into it. I think Gunther got a lot of respect from that crowd. I just felt it. He got a lot of respect from me as well. I just felt like there's a moment where you felt it. You felt the crowd all together just have a collective moment of like, God damn, Gunther is just killing himself for us right now. And I don't know. I think it was the moment where he's just like wiping the blood all over him. He's just a fucking beast in that match. Gunther was great. And eventually Damian caught up with him. Eventually Damian kind of got on the same page with him, and that was where I think also you got to talk about the story that was told here. Where Damian, I thought, did very well in the execution of the story, where Finn fucks him over. Damian has the match won, and Finn grabs Gunther's leg and puts it up on the rope, causing a rope break and screwing Damian Priest out of the title. But not just yet, because I did like the fact that they didn't right away end the match after that. They kind of made it where Finn was still the one, because it was basically where Damian was so angry that Finn just turned on him, that any moment that he had where he was free from Gunther, he went right for Finn. And he was just like so angry, he said fuck the match, and it just destroyed his focus. he was infuriated. And I thought he played all that off very well. I thought Damien's acting, I thought Finn's acting was really well done, except for that face he made. It was a little goofy. His evil face, Finn's evil face. And Gunther basically won by a choke out, a KO, I think. I think it was deemed sort of a KO. But yeah, very, very dominant win. The match wasn't dominant on Gunther's side, but the win ended up being dominant. But, he was being distracted and, it played into the storyline. And again, we have the split where they're kicking out Damien and Rhea from the Judgment Day. And what I said is that's going to happen is basically Damien and Rhea are now kind of the odd men out. They maybe team together for a mixed tag match between Liv and Dom and them. And basically I think the Judgment Day is still going to sort of like stick together, where if you remember on Raw last week, Rhea kept kind of nagging the guys to get rid of Carlito. So maybe Carlito plays a bigger part in this new faction, this new Judgment Day. If they still stick with the name Judgment Day, maybe they make a new name. Who knows? But I think they'll stick with Judgment Day just to kind of keep it there. And also, Finn is one of the founding members, more or less. He's one of the OGs of the Judgment Day. So Finn could, be the leader of that group. And listen, Finn being in this group has made me actually like him, because I fucking hated Finn Balor for a long time. I know he was a huge fan favorite, but I just couldn't get into him. Couldn't get into the whole demon thing. I felt like it was all lame. It wasn't really that creative beyond the face paint itself. But I think Finn is really coming to his own character, where he's interesting to actually watch his segments. Yeah, at least, whatever he's doing. And his promos have gotten better. And he's a little more he's got a better sense of humor than he used to. He's kind of funny at times. So yeah. I think Gunther goes on to basically reestablish Imperium. Because if you remember Imperium, or if you remember, he's still repping Imperium. They haven't dropped him being or representing Imperium. So I get the feeling that on Raw tomorrow night, it may open with Ludwig Kaiser inside the ring, spotlight on him, coronating our new world champion, Gunther. And, we'll see. Maybe they reestablish Imperium to be a fucking force, a force to be reckoned with. So we'll see. We'll see. All right, let's get to now I may be missing some stuff because, again, Peacock's shitty player fucked up my night. Let's get to the main event. You know what? We're talking about Cody Rhodes. I'm going to take another. All right. I always got to get a little I can't be sober when I talk about Cody Rhodes. I just can't. All right. Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa. Now, this was the only match that I kind of got wrong. However, I do have to point out that I did say I was going against the grain. I did say that Cody was going to win. I was just reaching to, one, find a way to badmouth Cody Rhodes, because I never miss an opportunity to do that. And two, I'll give you an example. I actually found out that he's not an alcoholic, and that he was actually sponsoring some whiskey, that wheat whiskey or something, on his what do you want to talk about thing. But I'm still going to call him an alcoholic, just because. Cody's long walk to the ring. He has his dog with him, Pharaoh. Didn't take the dog to the ring. Dropped him off. Did he take the dog to the ring? I don't remember that. I try not to pay attention to Cody entrances. But yeah, he gets a little pep talk from Arn Anderson. I guess, I was never an Arn Anderson fan, Guess respect to the legendary stuff he's done. Listen, I'm a guy who doesn't think the Four Horsemen were that great. I was bored by the Four Horsemen every single time they came out when I was a kid. Every single time. Now, Arn Anderson may be great behind the scenes. He may be a great creative, all that stuff, but he always bored me. But yeah, basically Cody comes out with this giant skull mask. Unbelievably big skull mask. Looked ridiculous. Now it's one of those things that I wonder if I liked Cody Rhodes, would I think that was cool? I don't know. But I was a little embarrassed by it. But yeah, basically they start the match, slow, methodical match. Basically there's this thing that I picked up on, that the slow and methodical match was really boring. Sometimes I think people hide boring behind slow and methodical, or that's just a way to say boring without being. But there are slow and methodical matches that could work, that I've seen work. Not always, but slow and methodical sometimes I think is the way people kind of hide. They cover boring with a fancy term. And I'll tell you another way how I know that it's just fancy talk, and it's just basically commentator talk to sell. There's a point where Corey Graves goes, and this is exactly what Solo wanted. He wanted to take the WWE universe out of the equation. And basically that's code for, goddamn, this crowd is dead. He took the WWE universe out of the equation. Unless that's part of the plan. Maybe it is, because maybe it built up to the big pop at the end. So maybe I'm just being a fucking cynical douchebag right now. And maybe slow and methodical is the point of it, is for that, so that it does build up to that end. So yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Just being a dickhead. But yeah, it led up to this bloodline interference. And this is where business picked up right around this part here. I gotta say the eye patch thing with Camacho. I guess I just refuse to learn his name. I like the eye patch look. I think he should keep it, even when his eye gets better. It's really funny because he reminds me of O.J. Simpson in The Naked Gun, because he keeps getting injured for some reason, Camacho. And it's like random injuries. It's like he hits his eye on the fucking corner of the announce table. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ. He fucking stubs his toe on the steel steps, and he gets the Bob Marley cancer. You know what I mean? God forbid. Yeah, but I think he should keep the eye patch. I think it's a cool look. Gives him a little more dangerous look, and it works for him. And then we have the KO and RKO run in, and then tragedy strikes. Now, I haven't looked this up, but somebody in the chat maybe could tell me. But then Jacob Fatu comes out and completely wrecks Cody Rhodes, starts destroying Cody Rhodes. And then it gets to this point where he does the table spot, puts Cody on the table, gets up to the top turnbuckle, and jumps off. And what it looked like was that he fucking snapped his leg on the edge of the announce table. Like the part that didn't break, that doesn't go through, the flat part, there's a little frame that still sometimes stays up. It looked like he landed directly on that, and it seemed like he may have broke his leg. He wasn't able to stand on it. That's my medical analysis. That's why I think he broke it. And I didn't get a chance to look it up to see if he actually did. I probably should have. But yeah, he wasn't able to stand, and you could tell he was actually fucking pissed that he broke his leg. Doing a ridiculous spot, let's be honest. He did that spot already. We know you could do it. Maybe it was unnecessary. Maybe you could have came up with another spot. Maybe that was a little too risky. And I had a feeling that he was supposed to be involved in the final, outcome of the match. He was supposed to have maybe an interaction with Roman. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I don't see how he wouldn't have if he didn't break his leg. Because I get the feeling that he was supposed to put Cody through the table, get up, and then maybe in that part is somewhere where Roman was supposed to come back. Because even Roman coming out, when his music hit, I felt like it was at a weird moment. It was almost like they weren't sure, like, okay, fucking now, just go. Jacob's not getting up. He's fucking done. We're gonna have to change the end of this match. Go out and take out Solo. That's it. So yeah, I feel like the end of the match got changed. Maybe not a huge change. Maybe he would have just sort of taken out Fatu, but yeah, Roman returns. Almost final form Roman gets an insane pop. Obviously, we'll call it the pop of the night. I don't know, maybe a couple that could have competed, but Roman's pop was insane. And of course, we all knew that was going to happen. Comes back, takes out Solo, helps Cody Rhodes win the match. Cue the whoa whoa music. Now, I feel like the better story would have been Solo winning the title. I still stick by that, but I won't harp on it because it didn't happen. And I just want Cody to fucking lose that title. But thought, despite Jacob Fatu breaking his leg, I think he broke. I'm gonna look that up before I get out of here. But yeah, it's sad that he broke his leg. It's sad that he got injured. You can tell when he started just flipping out. It was I felt his anger because it was like, fuck, I finally got here. And what, a month in, I break my fucking leg at SummerSlam. You could tell he was pissed. I definitely felt for him. But yeah, Roman coming back was pretty nice. Pretty big pop. I don't know what else you say about it. It was just pretty cool to see him come back. I love that all the people that were, Roman was so boring. Now they're all losing their mind for Roman to come back. I do like that Roman he didn't lose his tribal chief Thieves. He didn't come back smiling and fucking doing the Hulk Hogan ear thing to the crowd. He came back. He's still the tribal chief. It's just now he's babyface. Now he's babyface tribal chief. And definitely I think we're going now to the rebuilding of the original, the OG bloodline. I think Roman definitely starts to link back with his cousins. Maybe because there are a couple other Samoans out there that names were being brought up for this, the new bloodline. Maybe Roman brings back some new face or brings some new faces in to build his new bloodline, original members, and then a couple new guys. And then of course we also get eventually the return of Paul Heyman, which I'm very happy about. So we'll see. We'll see if we'll see how that goes. I think the story of him building back his, you know, I hope they actually build that story of him getting back with the Usos. Maybe Jay's not so quick to get back with his cousin, and there's that little tension. They got to get over that. Blase blah. We get a good few weeks, maybe in even a few months of story building with the bloodline here. So Bloodline Civil War is here, guys. It's officially here. I'm all in on it. I'll put myself out there. I'm all in on the Bloodline Civil War. For Cody Rhodes, he could still suck a dick, and he bores the fuck out of me. And cringes the fuck out of me. All right. I'll go through the chat here. I don't think I missed anything. I mean, I'm sure I missed some matches, but again, Peacock could suck a cock. They need to fix it. They need to fix it, goddammit. All righty. Let's get to the chat here. Let's see what you guys are talking about. Tyler Helton. Find a good one here. Let's see. What is this? Do you thoughts? I don't know, maybe just a little misspelling there. Thoughts on Uncle Howdy target on Finn Balor soon? Oh, do I think Uncle Howdy? I guess that's what you're asking. Is he going to target Finn Balor soon? I personally don't see it. I think they're just gonna they're gonna have their in-ring debut, I believe, tomorrow night on Raw. So since you're new, I'll just reiterate my I've said it a million times. You can go back in my videos. I'll give you a really quick paraphrase version of it. I think the Wyatt Six, their whole motivation for being even involved in the Chad Gable thing to begin with, because that hasn't really been explained, is because, well, it sort of has been, that he hasn't been appreciating his family. And that's what I think this is going to, is actually them forcing Chad Gable to reunite with his family, and them actually reuniting, but maybe not, staying together for that long, but, still being friends, that kind of thing. Or maybe actually just reuniting and going on an actual, like, meaningful kind of run. But I think if you notice, every time that Chad Gable goes to do something like unforgivable or something really horrible to one of the guys, or last week he was about to hit Maxine, which would have been sort of crossing that line of unforgivable, the Wyatt Six always get involved. Like when he handed the chairs to the Creed brothers, they were already beating him down. They could have got involved at any point, but when they gave him the chairs, when Chad handed them the chairs, the Wyatt Six, I think, jumped in, because they were like, yeah, you're crossing the line. You're not going to be able to fix your family if you do this. So in wrestling, that would be the equivalent of giving two guys chairs to beat you down. That's crossing the line. So up until now, everything has been brotherly sort of fighting. And the Wyatt Six won't let Chad get away with doing anything super bad, super horrible. And I think that's being done for a reason. That's why they keep interfering. Because otherwise, what's their motivation? Why would they even care? Why wouldn't they even give a fuck? So that's where I think they're going with that storyline. I think the Wyatt Six is actually more of a, they cause whoever they feud with to sort of change their character a little bit, or change whatever they're in. If they're in a bad group that they shouldn't be, the Wyatt Six will come in and sort of open their eyes to leaving that group. Just give an example. I don't really have any examples off the top of my head, but hey, maybe you're right. Maybe Finn Balor does get in there, but I don't know. It could make sense, because they are destroying their family. So They could attack them and punish Finn Balor for doing that. I don't see it necessarily happening right away, but we'll see. Shout outs to you, Tyler. Boban in the chat. Let's see. He says, I'm not sure about Gunther's title reign. His promos are far from entertaining. I gotta disagree. I think him going off on the whole street life thing and kind of just being an arrogant prick about it, I loved it. I liked it. His promos, I'll agree with you, leave a lot to be desired, but I think he's definitely gotten better. That's why I definitely, Boban, I want to ask you, what do you think of Ludwig? Because I think Ludwig is really great, and anybody else can answer that question too. I think Ludwig is a great mic man. I think he's fucking gold. And he's interesting. He comes up with interesting things to say. He's great at selling Gunther. He sells Gunther better than he sells himself, which is a perfect management material. And I think he would be almost like the glue that holds Imperium together. So maybe they add Dragunov to the group. I know that was talked about at one point. I think he'd be a good fit. But you know, I guess I really do think they're just gonna rebuild Imperium, make them a strong stable, and have Gunther be backed up by a powerhouse stable. I can see that coming. Let's see. Tyler Helton. I love HHH, Triple H, Paul Levesque booking more than Vince booking. In some cases, I agree. I think like SummerSlam, he made the right decision on everything. Triple H did. I just Tyler, I have a lot of videos on this. I just don't I'm not quick to, piss on Vince McMahon's legacy like a lot of other podcasters do. So you can watch my other videos. I actually have a video where I'm talking about Vince McMahon being a better leader than Triple H. Booker, I'm not ready to say he's better than Vince because Triple H just needs some more time to be a better booker or to prove himself before I give him the credit of being better than Vince. I think that's jumping the gun a little bit. Vince has, yes, towards the end of his career there, he definitely lost touch. But you can't negate the fucking 30 plus years of booking our childhood, more or less. So yeah, I can't push Vince to the side like that. That's not my style. Not my style. I don't know if you're doing that or not, but let's see. Hey, look at that. Nasty Leroy, aka that man, in the building. A legitimate wrestler in the building. GCW. Are you still with GCW, Nasty Leroy? I got to get Nasty Leroy on this channel. Shout outs to Nasty Leroy, aka that man. I believe he may still be in GCW. Go check out his work. A true entertainer, Nasty Leroy is. A true entertainer. Hey, shout outs to Connor. Says Damian versus Gunther was the best match at SummerSlam. Hey, look at that. Hey, while everybody's here, drop your favorite matches or drop your favorite matches and drop your rating of SummerSlam. Because I'm actually going to give it a rating because I rarely do the rating thing because I don't like giving bad ratings, and usually I'm split on a lot of the cards. But this SummerSlam, I'm actually going to give it a 8.5. You know what? I'm going to give it an 8 because there were points in the card that I was bored, but it gets a high rating for me because I thought they told a lot of stories very well. A lot of the executions were done very well, and all of the right people, I believe, won. I think pretty much all the right people won. Yeah. Let's see. Rhea versus Morgan at Bad Blood. That's a good call. I think Finn versus Damian Priest. That'll be a good. What's a good thing too is it doesn't necessarily mean Damian Priest has to, like, they could just pull him away from that title picture. I think Damian Priest was a bore fest as the champion. So pull him away from that title picture. You don't have to give him the rematch with Gunther. Really ever. But he does, rematch clause. He'll have to get his rematch at some point. But I think he's going to be so, because of the story they told at SummerSlam, he's going to be so fucking infuriated with Finn that he's not even going to give a fuck about Gunther. So definitely be able to push him right into that feud. And that could be a pretty good feud. Who knows? Or it could just become a fucking bore fest, because I could see both of those guys eventually boring us. Not Gunther, Damian and Finn. But again, Finn's been doing a little bit better on the mic, so all right. Nasty Leroy not in GCW anymore. All right. Well, I got to catch up with you, Nasty Leroy. Ludwig's promos are always fun. That's a good word for it. It's fun. Good, clean fun. Ludwig can make his... That's exactly what I'm saying right here, Boban. Ludwig can make his title run much more interesting, that's for sure. I think they should get back together. I think they will. I don't know why he wasn't with him for this build. I think they should have had him. I think even Ludwig going at Gunther about his street thing would have been way better. But, we didn't get that, so we'll see. We'll see if they get back together. I think they will, though. I think they will. Seen a lot of 8s, or 2 8s. You're not oversell here. 8 out of 10 for me. Tyler gives it an 8.5. Boban, they did all the right things. Yeah. I'll tell you, if the matches were like, if the Braun Breaker match was way more intense and explosive and he fucking just blew that shit up, it would have definitely been a 9. And I'm also, adding other things to it. I gotta give it an 8 also, because just the Cody thing. Just anything with Cody as the champion is gonna automatically lose a point for me. Automatically loses a point. All right. Well, I will get out of here. I hate Nia Jax versus Bayley match. Yeah, it's... I don't like women's wrestling. I won't even... I just can't stand it. I can't get into it. I never know what they're doing. It's like it's like Wedding Crashers. He's talking about his mom. I never know what she's doing back there. That's how I always feel about women's wrestling. Oh, Muhammad asked a question. I did see it, Muhammad. I got you. So, Muhammad, don't want to get off topic. I think this is the question you're saying. When will we see AJ Styles back on our screens again? I mean, TV wise and wrestling wise. I'll be honest, I couldn't give you an exact answer. Do they put him back with the OC? Has he even really left the OC? I just feel like all those guys are floundering, not really doing anything. I don't know what you do with them. I'll be honest. I don't know what you really do. I guess AJ Styles is a legend at this point. It's legendary status. So him coming back or not, like, I don't think he's retiring. I think AJ is probably going to get a bigger retirement. I don't think he just rides off into the sunset with no kind of moment of, he has the moment where he's in the ring. He's probably going to go out the right way. He does the job for somebody. And he has the moment where he's, everybody gives him their adulation. Thank you, AJ. And he's crying in the ring. Puts his hands up, gives him the final farewell for AJ. I see him being one of those kind of guys. He'll definitely announce his retirement, and he'll go out with a match, if not a final kind of round of matches. So yeah, I when I don't know, but I definitely think he'll be back. Whether or not he'll be back in the title picture, that's another question. I don't think we'll see him back. I think we may have seen one of his last title matches, world title matches anyway. When he went against Cody Rhodes. So I don't think we're gonna necessarily see him back in the title picture, but we'll see AJ again. We'll see him again. Some people say he's going to TNA. You know what? That's a good point too. I didn't even think of that. Going to another company, but maybe because WWE is doing this crossover thing with TNA, so maybe he does go back, but still sort of under contract with WWE. I could see that. I don't see AJ Styles leaving WWE money. He's a family man. He's playing his life smart. He doesn't have to jump through fucking glass and thumbtacks. He doesn't have to get slapped around by fucking Japanese dudes. He's enjoying. I think he's enjoying his life right now. I think AJ is at a great point in his life. I don't think he's going to leave WWE. I think this is where he ends his career. But I do see that where he may go over to TNA for a quick stint, sort of as a maybe part of his farewell, because that's kind of where he made his name. Somebody said they had, I think Tyler, you said you had Fatu. Oh, thank you. I see what you're talking about. Well, first I'll give you your condolences to Jacob Fatu. No, I feel you on this one though. I feel bad that Jacob Fatu is hurt. I love him. He is a beast. Yeah, and also just the fact that that's his character is supposed to be indestructible beast, and he breaks his leg, and and it's just gonna put a pause in this whole bloodline thing, and it puts a pause on his explosive fucking debut. Probably one of the most explosive debuts we've seen in quite a while from a WWE superstar here. And it gets fucked by a spot that he already did before at SummerSlam. That's why you got to be careful with those spots, man. They're not worth it. I think they should have been a little more careful knowing that Roman was coming back in literally minutes, and they make him do something that risky, especially if he was involved in the final moments of the match. That's where they should have, all right, listen, it's cool to do that, but let's just be careful. Maybe there's a bigger spot or a big spot we can do that's, a little less risk. But this is the comment I wanted to read. Jacob Fatu spotted in walking boot after SummerSlam. So, you know what? I'm going to confirm before. Thank you, Tyler. Thank you. I'm actually going to confirm if Jacob Fatu is like what his injury actually is. Let's see. Jacob Fatu. The werewolf. I guess Logan got hurt too. Maybe that's the thing with his eye. Yeah, there's basically no confirmation if he broke it or not that I'm seeing. This is, I guess, this is Triple H. This is Triple H. His comments from the press conference. Let's see. Unfortunately, Jacob Fatu got a little banged up in last night's match. The only two real ... I guess there are two real injuries. Logan's a little banged up. What the fuck does that mean? As he should be. And Jacob's a little banged up. I'll see where our nets... Wait, what? See where that nets out here a little bit. Nets out a little bit here. Hopefully nothing serious. But it was bugging him a little bit, the leg. So we'll see where he is. All right. So according to Triple H, Jacob Fatu's a little banged up. Yeah, I think he broke it. Because the way he tried to stand on it and he couldn't even hold literally any weight and he fucking crumbled. That motherfucker is broken. Trust me. I think it looked like he snapped his like shin. Oh, that must have been so painful. Fuck. It looked like his shin hit the edge of the table and like snapped. Oh my God. You ever like just bang your shin on like, maybe edge of a table? You know how painful that is? Imagine doing that from the top of a turnbuckle, all your weight coming down, and bangs the edge of a table and snaps. Oh God. And for a dude like that to fucking writhe in pain. Yeah. I think Zilla Fatu enters out Jacob Fatu. Oh, you think he replaces him? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, I mean that's the good thing about the fucking Samoan dynasty is they have goddamn just endless Samoans that can jump in. Endless Samoans. So, yeah. And I agree with you here. I wanted Cody to lose. I really did. One of the most boring champions of all time. I'd say, honestly, Cody Rhodes is the most boring champion of all time. I'm calling it. And I only say that relative to what they want him to be and what he's supposed to be. He's not. He he's not nearly where he should be. As far as the fact that he's also been in the business for how long? When did he debut? Let's say 15 years, 20 years maybe. I don't know if I remember Cody Rhodes that being around in what, 2000, 2004? Yeah, maybe a little bit later, but 15 years, he should be much better. In the main event, this is why he never was in the main event. Vince was right about this one. Let's be honest. Vince was right. I say bring back Stardust. I'd kill for a Stardust promo right now. And I think Cody's gotten worse as like a talent. I think he's gotten worse to the point where I don't think he'd be able to pull off Stardust anymore. Do you see every time he does the bionic elbow and he tries to tribute his father, he just can't bring himself to actually doing the fucking gyrating the hips. He just can't do it. His personality is too goddamn dry. That all he does is he just touches his crotch. He can't do it. It's impossible for him to have a personality. All right. No disrespect, Nasty Leroy, if you're still in here. I know you trained in the Nightmare Factory. Could you tell Cody Rhodes that I feel this way? Maybe we can get him better. Maybe we can maybe you could show him my videos and see if that kind of gets him. It pushes him to get better. Like that's my inevitably if you show him this. Nasty Leroy, show Cody Rhodes this, and I'm gonna give him a thing here. Cody, Crishaun the Don here. I want you to get better. Like whatever you think of doing, I want you to do the opposite. And just get better. Because what you're doing now is a fucking bore fest. Cure for insomnia, some would say. The most boring title run I've ever seen. And I sat through a lot of Triple H title runs. I sat through the McMahon-Hemsley era. So I know a thing or two about boring title runs. But my friend, Mr. Rhodes, you have reached uncharted territory of boredom. We all thought we charted all territory of boredom. All boredom was charted. But Cody Rhodes found a little bit more. He found the Antarctica of boredom. Oh, wait a minute. What's that out there? It's new land. That's Cody. That's Cody's title run. It's Antarctica. All right. So yeah, Cody, get better. That's all I'm asking. Then I could talk good about you on the podcast. Call your brother. He knew how to be entertaining. Dustin, teach him something. He's not better than you. They've gaslit Dustin into thinking Cody's better than him. And he's not. It's insane. All right. The gaslighting, I'm telling you, it's the gaslighting. That poor son of a bitch, Dustin. I would pay more for a Gold Dust than I would a Cody Rhodes. I would pay to go see a Gold Dust over Cody Rhodes. If I had a choice between Goldust and Cody Rhodes. Goldust all day. Are you kidding me? Even Goldust at his worst was still fucking entertaining. All right. Hey, Tyler dropped it too. Cody Rhodes, his brother is better than Cody. His brother is better. Exactly. All right. Well, look, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much. Nasty Leroy, please send that message to Cody Rhodes. I'm just trying to make him better. Let me come down to the Nightmare Factory. Hang out with you guys for a few days. Make that happen. Make that happen. I'll make him better. I have Cody Rhodes cutting promos like his brother or his father. How about that? He won't be talking about his father anymore. He'll be like his father. Carmella? Why? Why? Why Carmella? Now I got to stay on and wait for Muhammad's answer. I got to see why Carmella. While we wait for Muhammad to answer, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget, if you want to support my channel, well, this channel, the Kayfabe Kartel, and then our channel over at the Misfit Nation, you can do that. Actually, I'll put that up here at Misfit Nation. Over on YouTube, if you're into political talk and whatnot. Speaking of political talk, you can get yourself a Fight the Good Fight t-shirt with the bravest president that ever lived, Donald J. Trump, over at shopmisfitnation.com. We have some other t-shirts. We have our Kayfabe Kartel t-shirt. Yeah, we have a bunch of, couple t-shirts you might like, and then some new ones coming. Yeah, shopmisfitnation.com. If you want to support monetarily, if you just want to throw us a couple shekels, buy me a coffee at Misfit Nation. That also that goes into the Kayfabe Kartel. Eventually I'll start Kayfabe Kartel as its own little thing. But yeah, for now, if you want to support Kayfabe Kartel, you can do that through Misfit Nation. It's a subsidiary property is the Kayfabe Kartel of the Misfit Nation. It's an umbrella corporation. So yeah, so if you want to help us out, and I don't try to guilt people into it. If you have the means, if you don't, I know shit is tough right now. I know inflation is crazy, the whole nine. I understand. So if you have if you want to help out, we do appreciate it. And we'll start trying to figure out like maybe some kind of reward thing for people who do actually support. But that's in the future. We just do appreciate everybody who helps out, throws in, or buys a t-shirt, whatever. I appreciate people who just like the motherfucker. If you like our videos, if you see me put up even the videos that you already watched in this live, I kind of chop them up and put them out as their own separate videos. Just go ahead and like them and drop a comment if you remember something that you wanted to say, or if you just want to throw us in the algorithm. It helps out with the algorithm, getting our comments up. So yeah, drop some comments, drop some likes. We'll appreciate all of that, and it'll help us grow these channels and get better. Get better. Like I want Cody Rhodes to get better. You should do interviews with Cody Rhodes, please. Hey, I don't have any connections to Cody Rhodes. Thank God. I'll be honest, like personal connections. However, Nasty Leroy did train in the Nightmare Factory. So I'll have Nasty Leroy on the show. I won't. I can't. In the right mind, I can't. I won't force Nasty Leroy to say anything bad about he can defend him all he wants, because I have a lot of respect for Nasty Leroy. So I won't even argue with him unless Nasty Leroy's cool with it. But I'd save that for Cody Rhodes if I ever had the interview. Not gonna do it to one of his students. Maybe I should. Maybe that'll piss him off and have him come and do a show. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Cody Rhodes doesn't know how to have a conversation. It's always got to be scripted. All scripted answers. All right. I think Carmella. Yeah, we never got our Carmella answer. Having a problem with mental health because having a kid or having a kid. I mean, what woman doesn't have mental health problems? It's called being a woman. Yeah, Nasty Leroy. I can't get into women's wrestling. I mean, there's matches that I do get into. Listen, I love me some Charlotte Flair. I think Charlotte Flair is a great wrestler. I'm high on Nia Jax. I love Asuka. Love Asuka when she was a fucking killing machine. There's a point where I really like Shayna Baszler, but I don't know why. They just really, I don't say they dropped the ball with her, but yeah, I guess they did, because she was supposed to be a fucking killer. And I don't know. She doesn't seem to be a problem. And Tiffany Stratton, I think she's good. I like Tiffany Stratton. But literally just a handful. And the matches themselves, like Tiffany and Charlotte and, the people that I named can put on decent matches, but it's like, I don't know. They don't really, when I watch guys wrestle, it's different. Like women wrestle, like they try to wrestle like guys, but they don't have the impact that guys do. So when women actually used to have cat fights and people said it was, embarrassing, it was like, but at least, women had their own style of fighting back in the day. So, maybe they can evolve cat fights. I don't know. They need to figure out something though, but I just can't watch women act like dudes. Bothers me. The fact that none of them sexualize themselves. They look like, they dress like whores, all of them. All of them are dressed like whores, but they don't act sexual. It's weird. Maybe one or two of them do, but it's like, why are the rest dressed like whores though? Yeah. And then they're all just horrible on promos. Almost all of them. I think maybe Charlotte, kind of the only decent one on the mic, but I don't think there's one woman in the business that could cut a good promo. Not a one. So yeah, I don't think and I don't think all their characters are the same. They're all cunts. That's their character. Unless they're African American women, then they're black cunts. But that's all they're all the same thing. It's all just a hodgepodge. It's a what do you call it? It's a homogenized division. They shouldn't even call it division. It's a unification. It's just a big giant woman monster. That's what women's wrestling is. So yeah, I can't. And plus, I'm a sexist. So that too. I don't think it's a thing. And I don't like, I also don't like watching women fight. I think there's something weird in that. Dudes that like watching women fight. Now I'm getting personal, right? You're all fucking weirdos if you like women's wrestling. You like watching women fight. Yeah, I just it's not interesting to me. It's not interesting to me. All right. Well, that's where I'll leave that. Well, thank you guys so much for watching along. I will be back for the Raw review sometime in the next day or two. Thank you guys all for tuning in. I think I shouted you all out. Yeah. I'm going to try to do some of these earlier in the coming future. It's just right now, this is the only time I can do it. But also you can get in touch with me on X at Crishaun the Don. At Crishaun the Don right here on X. Yeah. If you want to throw me some what do you call it? People sometimes will tag me in little things that they want me to cover. So if you want me to do that, go ahead. Or if you want to do that, go ahead. All right. I'm fucking just rambling now. And it's because I'm trying to fix something here. And I was trying to buy time. But I couldn't. All right. Bye, Muhammad. All right, everybody. I'm out of here. Thanks again. I finally fixed it. Peace out.
This is a Misfit Nation production.
You want to be a friend of the cartel?